श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तुतराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोः भगवतोऽस्य दैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये। यस्य स्मरणमात्रेण द्वैतवासना प्रविच्यते बोधात्मकाय नमस्तस्मै भगवते श्रीरमणमहर्षये। हृदाकाशे सदा भान्तं शान्तम् आनन्दरूपी ज्ञानभानुमहं वन्दे सद्गुरुं श्री सत्यसायिनं ममान्तर्यामिः। सर्वदा सर्वकालेषु सर्वत्र हरिचिन्तनं practice at all times under all conditions the remembrance with love and devotion of the name of the Lord. The name is the thunderbolt which will pulverize mountains of sin. It is the unfailing cure to the dread disease of sheer worldliness. Surely that name will endow you with Shanti. Bhagavan Nama, the importance of Nama in sadhana, in life, is what Swami is going to focus upon for the next little while in Prashanti Vahini. Surely the name will endow you with Shanti, says Swami. But how is this name to be chanted by us? Rena Swami says at all times, under all conditions, with love and devotion, remember the name of the Lord. The name of Hari is as the effulgence of the rising sun which scatters the darkness of delusion. It is as luminous, as universal, and as sacred. Do not misuse that sacred name for even a second. Do not let pass even a second without bringing that name to mind. Remember the sweetness of that name when repeated by Prahlada overpowered the hearts of the Asuras who heard him. The children of the Asuras gave up their demonic qualities and repeated the name along with Prahlada, and led by him, they began to sing and dance with joy, arming themselves with axes to defend their leader. The transformation that was brought about amongst the Asura children has got two things instrumental in doing it. One is the name of the Lord, Harinama. The second, Swami says, the sweetness of that name when repeated by Prahlada was able to transform the hearts, overpower the hearts of the Asura children. Asuric children are filled with Asuric qualities, Asura Bhav. And now when Prahlada called out the name of the Lord, even they were moved by the sweetness of that name. Like that, Swami says, one should call out the name of the Lord as Prahlada did. We do not know how Prahlada did. We have not heard him. But we do know that when Prahlada called out the name, even Asuras were transformed. So now at least we know we have a benchmark. We know how we should be calling out the name in such a way that those who are hearing that name, when we call it out, will also be transformed. But whether they are transformed or not, at least we should call out the name in such a way that we are transformed. Our hearts become free from all kind of Asuric tendencies. What is Asuric tendency? Selfishness is Asuric tendency. What is the difference between an Asura and a Sura? Who is a Deva? Who is an Asura? Asura is somebody who is selfish. He doesn't mind hurting another person for his own comfort. He has no compassion. Asura. Who is the Deva on the other hand? One who is filled with compassion is divine. One who is filled with selfless love is divine. Asuric qualities within us are the selfish qualities within us which want to make ourselves happy even if it is at the cost of another person. It is Asuric Bhav. If there is a conflict between two people, a disagreement, an argument, a fight, whatever it is, what are we doing it for? I want my way. If my way cannot happen, then I will make you also miserable. Otherwise, there's no fight, no? Hey, I want my way. I can't have it. Okay, at least let me bear it in misery. I will give you joy. I will let you be in joy. Abhina Devi Bhava. Divine quality. Since you have made me miserable, I will make you miserable. This is Asuric quality. Good qualities and Asuric qualities are both present within us. Within all of us. Swami very beautifully said, in Treta Yuga, when Ramavataram happened, all the good people were in one place. The Asuras were all isolated into a separate island in Lanka. There was no mixture between the Asuras and the good people. Asuras were far removed from the good people. Taniya, there were two separate geographical entities. In Dwapara Yuga, Krishnavadaratala, Asuric and divine qualities started to reside within the same household itself. Kauravas and Pandavas were cousins. Within the same family itself, Asuric and Daivic qualities began to exist. But in Kali Yuga, it is existing within each individual. In the heart of every individual, divine qualities and Asuric qualities are both there. Appa Asuric qualities are present within us. It is okay, at least, if at all you can find some consolation. I am not alone. You may perhaps say, okay, at least I am not alone. In Kali Yuga, looks like everybody is an Asura. So, I am not the only one. Now you can maybe assuage yourself. But what is the use of that? What we need is to get rid of those Asuric qualities. We want to manifest our inherent divinity, not inherent demonic nature. Just because that Asuric quality is also inherent in us, should we become Asuras? Should we not become divine? How do we do that? To get rid of that Asuric qualities, what is required? The name of the Lord, when called out from the bottom of our heart with sweetness, tinged in sweetness, soaked in sweetness, immersed in sweetness. Chota chota. Andal, in one of her Tripavai Pasuram says, refers to Bhagavan as Manadukku Iniyanai Padelorembavai. Manadukku Iniyan, the one who is sweet to the mind. How does she describe the Lord? He who is so sweet to the mind that contemplates upon him. He who is so sweet to the heart that loves him. Whose name is so sweet to the tongue that chants it. Who is so sweet that the eyes are filled with delight on seeing him. Nayanabhirama, Manobhirama, Nayanabhirama, Shrotra Manobhirama. He is attractive, delightful to the eye, delightful to the ear, delightful to the lips. Ellathukum Bhagavan is delightful. What we have got to do is go and find that delight within ourselves. It is present within ourselves. The more we tap into that sweetness of the name, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Don't be wooden. Don't think that people will judge you, or if you give in to that joy, people will question you. Allah, no, with wild abandon, sing the name of the Lord. Chant the name of the Lord with no shame. Hatatrapah, Bhagavatam says, Hatatrapah patan. Hatatrapah patan, he called out the name without any shame. How should you call out the name? Without any shame. Otherwise, we are shy. Shy to even call out the name of the Lord. What are we shy for? Other things, if you feel shy, it is okay. Without the least trace of shamelessness, you yell at people. Without the least trace of shamelessness, you are rude to people. but to call the name of the Lord, we become shy. How is this right? Yeah. The sweetness will not come out if you are reserved. If you have to look around before you chant the name of the Lord, how will you enjoy the sweetness in the name? It comes, you call it out. Ha, Krishna. Bhava, depths of bhava should be involved in that name. Name should always come from the heart now. If the name comes from the heart, it is enough if you chant it once. There is no need to do 108 times. Malas, you don't need to do the name. Once if you do the name, but do it in such a way that the Lord himself is standing in front of you. Apra mala ennathukku? If Bhagavan is standing in front of you, will you close your eyes and do? When Rama is standing in front of you, will you still do japa? How should your japa be? You should call him with the way you chant his name. He should feel compelled to come. That means you can never take the name without actually seeing him, feeling him in front of you. When you chant the name is not a mere remembrance of a name. It is calling out, it is accosting that person. If he is in front of you and you call him out, it is like that. Krishna, you must feel Krishna there. If you do not feel Krishna, then why call out the name Krishna? Mechanical, it will become mechanical. Is anything wrong? Nothing is wrong. Even if you must call out the name of the Lord mechanically, that is fine. But when you can enjoy the sweetness of it when you call it out with bhava, why would you want to waste, as Swami says, even a second without bringing that sweet name to the mind? Anandama, is it not sweet? To sing is sweet, but the name of the Lord is such that to call it out is also equally sweet. Krishna. Papa. Whatsoever your mood may be, reflecting and mirroring your mood, you call out the name with that inflection. In frustration, call out the name. Swami. How sweet it is. That joy is available free of cost to everybody. Those of you who want to have it, you can have it. In spite of it, if you say, I won't have it, that's fine. No problem. We will have it. Those of us who want to have it, we will have it. The name of the Lord that can transform the Asuric character and purify it into nectar is verily the heaven of Shanti for all, for the world. To repeat that name without break like the flow of oil, to love that form and that name with intensity, that is what deserves to be called bhakti. What is bhakti? Now Swami says here to call out that name, to repeat that name without a break like a flow of oil. அப்படின்னா பிரேக் இல்லாம தான் இருக்கு. அதுவா அப்படின்னா இல்ல. What does it mean? Where is the break? The break is not in the utterance. The break is in the involvement of the mind. That is where is the break. ராமா அப்படி சொல்லிட்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் you get involved in காமா அப்படின்னா என்ன பிரயோஜனம்? Rama Smriti, the Bhagavad Smriti does not leave us. Adu Tailadharavat, like the unbroken flow of oil, continuously within it is abiding in us. Then Amamrita is abiding, is constantly flowing within us. Sada it is flowing within us. Doesn't matter what actions we are doing, doesn't matter who we are talking to, and the Nama is not far away. The name is not far away. The name is very close. Call that name out with joy. Joy good, call it out any which way you want. In the when we go to Vaishno Devi, there is a shrine in Kashmir called Vaishno Devi, Mata. That is the shrine of the Divine Mother in all her three forms. And you have to climb up a hill, 14 kilometers up. You have to go up from Katra. You have to go up. Up a lot of people will be going on the road, and it's a big steep climb. Everybody will be walking up. Up they'll be chanting the name Jai Mata Di, Jai Mata Di, Jai Mata Di, Jai Mata Di, Shulinde Pova. They will constantly call out the name. Up enna cholva? Jor se bolo Jai Mata Di, Uche bolo Jai Mata Di. Call it there high Jai Mata Di, call it out low Jai Mata Di. आगे बोलो जय माता दी, पीछे बोलो जय माता दी, front जय माता दी, back जय माता. அப்படின்னா என்ன அர்த்தம்? Any which way you call out the name, doesn't matter. If you are in high spirits, call out the name in high spirits. If you are in low spirits, call out the name in low spirits. அதுவும் பரவாயில்லையா? If you are happy, call the name out happily. If you are sad, call the name sadly. என்ன போ? சந்தோஷமா இருந்தா மோகனத்துல கூப்பிடு, வருத்தமா இருந்தா சிவரஞ்சனியில கூப்பிடு. Call the name, but the name should not be far away from our thoughts. The thought of the Lord should never be far away from us. To repeat that name without break, like the flow of oil, to love that form and the name with an intensity. Intensity na enna? What does it mean to intensely love it? When will it become intense? அப்படின்னா பல்ல கடிச்சுட்டு வரணும் அது பிரேம. Have you, when you see a small baby, and you are entranced by the baby, it is so sweet. The கொஞ்சம் இல்லையா, we go and play with the child. அப்போ without our knowledge, we will clench our teeth as though we are angry. ஓ சொல்லுமே குட்டி சவுக்கமே சக்கர குட்டி அப்படின்னு என்னவோ வளருவோம். Something we will say, இல்லையா? Something we will say. But at the time, the world doesn't exist for you. Nothing exists. Even your teeth are clenched. Full intensity oda we will go. The intensity. ஏதோ சும்மா நானும் அமைக்க முடியாது அப்படின்னா என்னது? What is the use of treating him as though somebody is a stranger? Is God a stranger to us? Is he not our closest friend, our most intimate friend? How should we treat him? That is what he is also wanting. He wants us to treat him like that. Intensity oda, intimacy oda. Bhakti means the highest, purest prema directed towards the Lord. Anyone can attain this bhakti. The door of bhakti yoga is open to all. The only passport needed is a desire for liberation. That desire entitles man to his heritage. Bhakti na enna? Bhakti means the highest, purest prema, satu asmin parama prema rupa. Abdina Swami is going to quote later on. What is bhakti? Abdina in Bhakti Sutras, Narada in Bhakti Sutras says, Satu asmin parama prema rupa. I think we mentioned it earlier in the Prashanti Vaini series only. Asmin. Illa eppo sonna nyavam vera satsangathla sonnena theriyadu. Asmin appadinu solra. Satu asmin parama prema rupa. It is at the highest love towards him. Narada starts Bhakti Sutra like this. Atato bhaktim yakyasyamaha satu asmin parama prema rupa. Second sutra in Bhakti Sutras. He doesn't say who, asmin, him. Who is him? Rajava, Mantriya, Sevaka, Sipaiya. Who is this him? Abdina. There can be no other him when it comes to bhakti except him. Avarta. The wife, traditionally in our Indian culture, the wife will never refer to the husband by the name. She will always use the word avar. He. वो हिंदी चलो वो नहीं वो आएंगे अब उन्हीं से बात कर लो अल्लाह अवर वरुवर अवटे पेश करो. She will not refer to him by name. In that, there is an intimacy, only she can use that term, endearment, the term of endearment to him. Narada is using it to Bhagavan. Asmin, towards him, Parama Prema, Chuma Prema, not ordinary Prema, Parama Prema, supreme love, highest Prema towards that Lord. Bhakti is that highest Prema towards that Lord. Such Prema, of course, Swami says, of course, such Prema will only dawn after knowing the glory and the splendor of the Lord, as well as his innate characteristics such as omniscience, omnipresence, immanence in all creation, his omnipotence, etc. He who is endowed with this prema of this nature, he who lives always with the Lord, is certain to be liberated. Adhikapra, he doesn't have to do anything to be liberated. He will be liberated. How is this prema known? When we know the glory, the splendor of that Lord, na mahatmya tatrapi na mahatmya vismrityam. Narada says, you've got to always remember his glory, his splendor. Without forgetting his splendor, you've got to love him. In fact, when you discover his splendor, the more and more you will start to love him. But the highest prema, once we acquire this prema, then once we have this kind of prema, and when we live with him always, he who is endowed with this prema of this nature and lives with him always. So to live with God. Live for God, but also live with God. Cohabitation. Live with God. Apo, you will certainly be liberated. What does it mean, the expression to know God? Swami says, to know God means to love God. We have heard an expression, different expression, to know God is to be God. It is also equally true. To know God is to be God. But how do you be God? By loving God, you become God. To know God is to love God. To love God is to be God. And the jnana, what is the sign of a jnani? Swami says, what is the sign of a jnani? Prema is the sign of a jnani. It is prema, the possession of ever-widening prema. Remember on Ramana Bhagavan's Jayanti, when we had a special satsang, I remember speaking about this. What is the characteristic of a jnani? Appadina prema dane. Ultimately, it is prema, that ever-widening prema, ever-expansive prema. It starts off, how does it start? It starts off with exclusive, one-pointed devotion, love towards God. Initially, it starts with only the one name and one form of the Lord, and then you love it so much, you love it so exclusively that you have no time, no attention span for anything or anybody else in this world. Matrana, he dominates your life. And rightfully so. If God cannot dominate your life, what kind of a life is it? Is he not big enough to dominate it? Is he not big enough to dominate the entirety of your vision, entirety of the range of your interests and your lifespan? So you begin with loving God. And you love him so much that he can't bear to keep himself away from you. So he will start revealing himself to you. And how will he reveal himself to you, Prina? When he loves you so much, because you love him so much, he cannot hide anymore. He cannot pretend anymore. He has to reveal himself in his entirety to you. He has to reveal himself in his truthfulness to you. This is who I really am. He has got to tell you. So when he wants to confess and come out to you and say, this is who I am, the only way he can do it is by showing that he is immanent and omnipresent in all creation. I alone am. He will stand up from every single atom in this universe. We do not need to see him everywhere. He will alone appear everywhere to us. He alone will appear everywhere to us. We don't need to visualize him. We don't need to imagine him. All we need to do is love him. If we love him, he will stand up and present himself everywhere. Wherever you go, he will be there. Here I am in a Chalvarswar. His hand will be seen in every event that happens in your life. His presence will be felt in every person that you meet. Not in a particular form. He can choose to come in a form if he wants to, but even better than that, he will present himself in that sweetness of love that he really is. And that love is present everywhere in all things. You will find it in the rain, you can find it in the sun, you can find it in the wind, you can find it in the ocean, you can find it in the people that you meet, you can find it in a chair, you can find it in a table, you can find it in the bed. Everything becomes Bhagavat Swarupa. Anandam, Anandam, Anandam. That sweetness, that softness, that grace is present everywhere. This flower that they've kept here, the flower la theriliyo. Can't you see how soft, how sweet, how like so much like God it is? Theriyarde. He manifests himself in anything, in everything. Thoru madness of prema, in which everything appears to be the beloved only. What is the sign of a jnani? It is the possession of ever-widening prema. It is only through bhakti that jnana becomes stabilized and deep-rooted. When bhakti, or in other words, love towards the Lord dawns, ignorance will vanish step by step. Bhakti and hatred cannot coexist. They are contradictory. Prema towards the Lord fosters attachment to Him. Such attachment and bhakti are synonymous. There is no trace of hatred in such attachment. The heart of the devotee is firmly and deeply attached to the Lord. The mind of a worldly man is attached to worldly objects. The heart of the devotee is attached to God. Bhakti, that is the form of attraction, attachment to the Lord, shows the way to liberation. The word rasa indicates the attraction of worldly objects as well as the longing for the joy of God realization. Just as the mind of the worldly man is attracted towards worldly objects, his family, etc., like that the heart of the devotee is unerringly attracted only towards the Lord. And bhakti is nothing but that kind of attachment to the Lord. Instead of being attached to so many things in this world, if we can sever, cut asunder all those attachments and instead form only one bond of attachment towards the Lord, that attachment towards the Lord will become the cause for liberation itself. Attachment leads to bondage, but attachment towards the Lord leads to liberation. Anurakti, Swami called it. Attachment na anurakti, rakti. Like the common worldly attachment that we have. That is why Swami is giving the example. The mind of a worldly man is attached to worldly objects. There's a humorous incident that comes in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, where one day, in the little room in which Thakur is sitting, a man comes. He comes and sits for a while, and after some time, he says, "Oh, I have to take leave. I have to go and see the Chandravadana, the moon-faced one, the delight of my life, my moon-faced darling." Ramakrishna narrates this to people who come afterwards. Do you know what he said? Do you know what he said? He said, "It is time. I have to go and see the moon face." What is the moon face? His sun. Chi. To call the face of your child like a moona. Adva moon. Yeda moona. Chandravadana. Kamalanayana. Narayana. Hari Narayana. Adane Chandravadana. Sashivadana Shri Kara Sarva Pranapate. Sashivadana அப்படினா moon like face. Chandravadana அப்படினா moon like face. யாருக்குனா பகவானுக்கு தானே moon like face. மனுஷாளுக்கான. If a child has moon like face, Down syndrome. Ramakrishna was so annoyed. Chi அப்படிங்கிறார். Sometimes, you know what he would do, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa? He was the politically most incorrect person. What he would do is he will have a pot of Ganga water in his room all the time. And when people like this come, after they get up and go, he will take that water and sprinkle it on the place where they sat. Chi, I have to purify this place. Sometimes he will sprinkle it on them also. Pav, or lady had come. Dasi she was. She came and she was sitting down. Thakur never made any distinctions between people, even though she came from a very kind of a low lifestyle. Still, he talked to her nicely. I heard you did this, I heard you did this. Emboldened by that, she went and touched his feet. He pulled himself back as though he was stung, took some Ganga water and poured it on his own feet. She was shocked by the whole thing. She went away quickly. Wow. He never bothered about all that. Imagine somebody shakes your hand, immediately you hand sanitize. Immediately if you sanitize your hand, how will it be? Of course, nowadays nobody minds it. Nowadays that is the norm. If you don't do it, they will say, hey, do you want some hand sanitizer? Ramakrishna sanitizer was Ganga water. Ganga water tha elladhukku thalichudu. What kind of nonsense? He couldn't believe it. He could not believe it for the life of his. He said, how can you consider you're sitting in the presence of a Mahatma, a Paramahamsa, and the topic is all about God. He's talking, he is waxing eloquent like the full moon. He is waxing about God. God this, God that, live for God, Paramatma, Krishna, for God kathin irukar. Amanga கேட்டு சரி என் குழந்தை தூங்கி போடும் அப்புறமா வரேன். If I go late, my moonlight child will go to sleep. So before he goes to sleep, I have to go and talk to him. Tata, அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு ராமகிருஷ்ணன் டாடா சொல்லிட்டு போறோம். This is attachment, the anurakti. This anurakti we are keeping towards all worldly things, to the utter disgust of Mahatmas. You do not realize it. Don't ever go and stand in front of a Mahatma with this kind of behavior. They will be totally disgusted with you. They will vomit. Ramakrishna மாதிரி இருந்தா நிஜமே வாந்தி எடுத்துருவா அப்புறம். We don't realize, actually, in a way, many ways we don't realize how terrible we are with what kind of stink and sewage in our hearts we go and stand in front of Mahatmas. You know why they are called Mahatmas? They put up with us. Adanal da Mahanubhavas avallam. The one reason why they deserve to be called Mahatmas is because they are willing to put up with the garbage, the stink that we generate within our hearts. All these kind of worldly attachments, this kind of absolute utter stupidity with which we think the false is important. அதோட போய் நிக்கிறோம், அவன் முன்னாடி நிக்கிறோமே. Imagine they should take a broom and beat us out of their sight. Literally, we deserve to be beaten out of their sight with a broomstick. Ana, they filled with love for us. They still shower their love upon us. For that itself, we should worship them forever. All Mahatmas are worshipped. How many people Swami saw? How much love he had in his eyes when he saw all of us. We know how we are, no? In spite of it, if Swami could shower love, that is why he is God. That ever expansive love, ever widening love is a sign of a jnani, is a mark of a jnani. Rasa indicates an attraction towards worldly objects, but the same rasa, when it is placed towards Bhagavan, becomes the highest parama prema rasa, bhakti rasa. So, it is not that we cannot love God. It is not that we do not know how to. We are well versed in attachment. Isn't it? Who is not familiar with attachment? We are so attached to so many things. All we have got to do is cut all the attachments and take it and channel it and let it all flow in fullness of devotion towards Him. If that much we are able to do, then that itself is absolute, supreme love, parama prema. It will lead us to liberation. Bhakti and jnana are like the pair of bullocks for a cart. Both have to pull in unison. Each must keep pace with the other and help the other to drag the weight quicker. Jnana has to help the increase of bhakti. Bhakti has to contribute to the growth of jnana. It is on account of this mutual help, this collaboration, that the gopis of Vrindavan were able to attain moksha. Their bhakti towards Krishna endowed them with the highest jnana also. Nobody can say that Gopikas did not have jnana, Leah, because we see in the Bhagavatam, in the Gopika Geetam, the Gopikas tell Krishna, Nakalu Gopika Nandano Bhavan Akila Dehinam Antaratmadrik. Hey Krishna, You are not merely Yashoda's son. You are the Antaratma, the Drik, the seer that is present within all beings as the Antaratma. You are that. Abdin Parabrahman. Abdin, they are able to understand Krishna's Tattva. Nobody initiated them. No Vedanta was required for them. No Upanishads were needed for them. But they are using words that Upanishadic rishis also will be surprised on listening. Akhila Dehinam Antaratma Drik. The Drikkangara Vishayam irke, the Drik word, you will find it only exclusively and only in Vedantic texts. Swami spoke about the seer and the seen. Yeah. Drik and Drishya. The Drik Sabdam is used exclusively and purely in Vedantic context. Iva edhula cholrana, Rasa Kridala cholra. A term that should be used in Vedantic Upanishadic parlance is used in Rasa Krida parlance by the Gopikas. Hey Krishna, nee Drikkuliyo. Jnana and Bhakti are not opposed, they are going together. That is why Swami is quoting the example here of the Gopikas. Their Bhakti towards Krishna gave them the highest Jnana. Now, the essence of Bhakti as well as Jnana is the Shanti of the highest type, Prashanti. Prashanti leads you to Prakanti. Prakanti leads you to Paramjyoti. From Prashanti to Prakanti, the glory of spiritual effulgence, and from that Paramjyoti, the super effulgence of the highest revelation, the supreme light, Jyotishavapita Jyotihi. Jnana is a concomitant of Bhakti. It is its component part. Love fixed on God is the most beneficent. It produces the greatest Shubha, the most auspiciousness. It will not bind man to the earth. On the other hand, it will take him by the hand along the road to moksha. It will release one from all types of bonds and attachments automatically. One has to strive only to promote only this much. Avoid evil company. Associate yourself constantly in good company, which will promote the feeling of detachment. Bhakti sadhana, Swami said, helping us with. Cultivate bhakti. Dwell in that bhakti. Never go out of that bhakti. How do you get that bhakti? Just imagine, for the last 6 days, Adukula 6 days, today is the 6th day, can you believe it? Only one more day left of our Saptah. For the last 6 days, we have not heard anything other than God alone, Bhakti, Prema, God, Prashanti, The, Tripi, Swami, Krishna, Rama, we've been hearing only this. So what has happened? Naturally, our hearts are all filled with Bhakti. Our fervor is there in our hearts, isn't it? Tell me, how was this before this 6 days? 7, 8 days ago, how are you? How are you now? Is there not a difference? Is there, tell me, you tell me. Is there not a difference between you 8 days ago and you today? Why? Constant exposure to the same truth. Again and again, repeatedly hammering us. A sweetness comes into us, or mellowness comes into us, or fervor comes into us. That is the result of the good company that we have been keeping. Let go of this and go into your worldly company. Spend 6 days in that worldly company. What will happen to you? Where will this fervor be? Where will the sweetness be? Will it not vanish? Just like that, it will evaporate. Isn't it? How many Saptahams you all have heard? So many Bhagavata Saptahams we've heard. The 7 days will be in some other world. What happened? As you get involved in the world, we don't know where it frittered away. It's all gone. That is why Swami is saying here, for you to sustain that bhakti, what should you do? One has to strive only to avoid evil company, and constant association in good company is necessary, which will promote the feeling of detachment from everything and instead only attachment towards God. In whichever company we are, we will tend to be influenced by that company and become like them. Become like the people that we are surrounded. You will want to keep up with them. But constantly, if you are in a very professional company, a group of people, everybody is professional, you will also want to show off your professional knowledge. Otherwise, you will feel shamed. Peer pressure. And then you also want to be, I also know this, I also know that. If you are always in satsanga, what will happen? Peer pressure will be there. So you will also want to be, I also do dhyana and all. I also do japa and all. If you're not doing it now, at least for that sake, you'll want to do. அது ஒரு பாசிட்டிவ் ப்ரெஷர், நல்லதுதான், nothing wrong with it. ஏன்னா constantly you're exposed to that only, you will feel ashamed after some time if you're not doing anything. Everybody else is doing, I alone am not doing, அப்படின்னா that will shame you into doing. That is the great advantage and blessing of good company. Otherwise, that fillip, that push, we will never have. We will never find it anywhere. It is very hard to just get a kickstart, a running start into this kind of a spiritual life. Satsanga does it for us. The Madhuri Saptahams, when we do, it gives you a push. Now, when you first learn to ride a bicycle, you need somebody to give a push to you. Then you sort of, you will start to pedal and furiously and try to maintain your balance, and you learn how to ride a bicycle. Like that, in this also, you need a push. What gives that push? This kind of satsanga gives that push. Association with the holy ones gives that push. After that, it is up to you to maintain that dynamism, maintain that speed, momentum. But even in that, if you still have the good fortune to have that good company, they will keep giving you that push every time you reduce a little bit, until you can take off on your own. That is why in all our scriptures, the satsanga is given so much importance. Satsanga will promote detachment, Swami says. Satsangatve nissangatvam. Nissangatve nirmohatvam. Nirmohatve nischalatatvam. Nischalatatve jivan muktihi. Satsangatve nissangatvam. Through the satsanga, we get into a state of detachment. Nissangam poradala. I'm not interested in all of these things. You will no longer want to keep up with the Joneses. But if you're only moving with the Joneses, you'll want to keep up with them. If you leave them and live in this, you will start to want to only attain this only. Then you will want to be in only this. You will become automatically detached from all the things that you should be detached from. Nissangatvam. Nissangatve nirmohatvam. Delusion will automatically leave you when you develop detachment. Nirmohatve nischalatatvam. When there are no more delusions to attract you, divert you, distract you, then you will be steady and stable. Nischalam. Without any movement, you'll be able to establish yourself in the path towards the goal. When you're no longer diverted away from your state of being, Annilai Payarad. Ramana Bhagavan refers to it as Annilai Payarad. Without moving, swerving an inch from your Yathartha Sthiti, from your real state, then that itself is Jivan Muktihi, liberation while still alive. For all of that, the starting point is Satsanga. Satsanga helps us develop bhakti. Satsanga helps us develop detachment. Satsanga will take us all the way to Jnana. Adanale, what should we do? All that we have got to do for this bhakti to flourish within us is to avoid the negative aspect of evil company and instead develop association with the good, the wise. Just because you want association with the wise, it will not happen. They will also have to tolerate you. For that, you've got to go in the right way towards them. Only then they will be able to accept you. We need to have the right intention, the right sincerity. Sincerity, Shraddha is the only thing that is necessary. Nothing else is necessary. You must have Shraddha. Yenodano nrinda porat. Wishy-washy will not cut it. Intensity, sincerity. Failure is not a bother. I'm not able to is not a problem. I don't want to is a problem. I can't is not a problem. I won't is the problem. I'm not able to meditate. That's okay. We will find a way. I don't want to meditate. What can we do? I want to attain God, but I don't know how to. I can't. That's okay. We'll find a way. But I don't even want to attain God. Swami used to give us the example. If you are climbing a tree, I can give you a push. But if you don't want to climb the tree and I give you a push, you'll fall on my head. You must want to climb. Then Bhagavan, Ishvara, will do everything he needs to do to make sure that all the resources that you need, all the help that you need will be promptly made available to you as and when you need it. That is His department. That is His job. He will never fail it. All we need to do is have that kind of a determination. Just before coming, I saw a beautiful message was sent to me by somebody. It's a quotation from Swami. Very beautiful one. We've seen this before, but it still is worth reading. Once you've secured a guru, leave everything to him, even the desire to achieve liberation. He knows you more than you yourself ever can. He will direct you as much as is good for you. Your duty is only to obey and to smother the tendency to drift away from him. You may ask, how are we to earn our food if we attach ourselves to a guru like this? Be convinced, the Lord will not let you starve. He will give you not merely money, but even amrita, not just food, but even the nectar of immortality. Become immersed in the sweetness of the name on your tongue. This is from Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba in the quotation. Somebody just said just before coming. Once you have secured a guru, leave everything to him, even the desire to acquire liberation. He knows you more than you yourself ever can. He will direct you as much as is good for you. Your only duty then is to obey. Your only duty is to carry out his commands, is to obey and to smother the tendency to drift away from him. This is the problem. We will have this slowly, that is attractive, though this is attractive, this is nice, that is nice, I need to do this, I need to do that, and we will wander away from him. If we stop that, that is enough. Obey and not leave from that place. Rest of it, he will take care. Then Swami says, but if you attach yourself to Guru like that, people may ask, then how will we even earn our living? I can attach myself to a Guru, that's okay. As long as the Guru blesses me with greater jobs, more salary, higher promotions, naturally, why will I leave such a Guru? Oh, who will leave such a Guru, I say? Who will leave the Guru who gives you good job, more money, gets you married, gives you children, names your children, fulfills all your desires? Ayyo, in the Guru da enakku venum. Best Guru. The Guru says, leave your job. Yeah, I leave the Guru instead. Guru says, leave the job now. I will leave the Guru. He is a jobless Guru. Maata udu. Amarku vela illa, namakku vela ellam pandrare manshan. Maana udu. You leave the Guru instead. Swami says, be convinced. Be convinced that the Lord will not let you starve. Lord will not let you starve. Ado kanji kuru kudupara. Maybe he'll give you some bhiksha, some gruel. Kanji, he will give. Illa, he will give you amrita. Some should kanji udumad, amrita udupar. He will not only give you money, he will also give you amrita. More than the adherent of the path of karma, jnana or yoga, the follower of bhakti is declared fortunate and superior. He is better than the yogi, the sannyasi, the jnani and the sadhaka who takes up the discipline of karma. That is the reason why when Arjuna asks Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, amongst those who worship you as the indestructible, imperceptible, etc., and those who worship you like how I worship you in the form of Krishna, who is better off? Abdina, in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti Yoga, it starts off with Arjuna asking the question, Nirgunopasana and Sagunopasana. Which is better, Abdina? Bhagavan says, both attain me. Ana, the person who has fixed his mind upon me, worships me, is ever steadfast and exulting in me, he achieves greater success. Not only that, his path is easy, his path is sweet. In Bhakti, you don't have to wait for a long time before Ananda comes to you. The moment you love him, then and there, Ananda has come to you. Yeah, isn't it? Do you have to wait after saying the name Krishna now? Do you have to wait for getting joy for 24 hours? Please wait until 24 hours before your joy will be returned to you. Krishna. Now itself joy has come. Then and there joy has come, Ilya. The moment we call it bhajans, we sang the bhajans. As and when we were singing the bhajan, then and there we were happy. The moment we said, Sankata Harana, Shri Sai Ramana, then and there Sankata went away. Sankata Harana and Shonanadi Kime, the moment we said Sankata Harana, all our Sankatana, difficulties, troubles, everything went away, no? We don't have to wait for it to go away. We don't have to wait for joy to come. The singing itself is joy. The calling out of the name of the Lord itself is joy. See, I am constantly tasting that joy. That is why I am telling you so much about it. If you are not joyous, I will not tell you. You try it and you find the joy, then you will also start yelling out like me. You also start saying the same thing like I'm saying. You know, it is the easiest way to get joy. It is so easy. Wherever you are, you can get this joy. You don't have to do something special. You don't have to go somewhere. Even for worldly joy, you have to do something. You have to make effort. For a movie, every now you have to go buy a ticket. And if you're not in time, tickets may run out. This is not like that. No, this is so easy. Karachina koote chor na loote. There is no expense in it. Meera says, there is no expense in this. And thieves cannot take this wealth away. And every day, din din badat samayo payo ji maine naam ratan dhan payo ji maine. Every day, the joy it gives keeps on increasing. Pratikshanam vardhamanam. Every day that you chant the name, it keeps increasing. The same bhajan becomes sweeter and sweeter. And it's sweeter and sweeter as the days go by. Sweeter and sweeter than more and more sweet. So Krishna says here, whoever fixes his mind upon me, worships me, exults in me, is steadfast in that devotion towards me, with Shraddha, he will attain me very easily. So Shraddha is ever essential in matters of spirituality related to God. Shraddha and Bhakti become mutually supportive of each other. Shraddha has no limitations, and so its results too have no decline. Although the love of God is not the fruit of any action, in order to attain completion, it is dependent on some sadhanas. Jnana on internal sadhana, Bhakti more on external sadhana. Swami is going into some technical truths to explain it to us. Prema doesn't require action. Love is not an action. Love is a feeling. But actions become expressions of that love. Actions become expressions of love. You may have love in your heart. How does that love become communicated to a person? Through action. When you do something for that person, you are communicating your love through that action to that person. Does Bhagavan require such communication? Not really. Bhagavan already knows it. But can you keep quiet without expressing your love through action? I love you very much, but I will just simply sit and not do anything for you. How can you do that? You can't do that now. There is somebody that you love. In front of you, suddenly they are coughing. Aha. I love you so much. Even in your cough, you look so beautiful. I could just see you coughing all day. Will you not run and get them a glass of water? Prema, I'm filled with love. I'm just I'm just watching you. Once, in fact, that shows how much you love. Once it so happened, Swami, in Vrindavan, Swami got into the car. And before he could fully get into the car, an overzealous boy closed the door. Car door. So what happened? Swami's little toe got caught, got jammed. Chadal mudipta. Divine toe. divine toe was hurt by the car jamming. Swami kept quiet. And Swami chonna the payyam pavam, he'll feel bad. Swami kept quiet. Then Swami went for a round. He was going out somewhere. He came back. Door opened, and Swami started to walk. Pata, dot, dot, dot of blood where Swami is walking. One person could not bear it. Swami had a hairline fracture in that toe, and it also was external injury, bleeding injury. One person, Radhakrishna, he couldn't bear it. He got up and went and lifted Swami up. He lifted Swami and carried Swami. He said, you shouldn't walk. Swami is saying, Vadal raha, hey, let me go. And Swami is saying, Vadalu means leave me, let me go. Vadal raha. He did not. He lifted Swami and went and said, Swami shouldn't walk. Another boy was watching this. He had the thought within. He said, all of us were watching Swami walk. All of us felt bad when we saw Swami walk in this manner. But none of us dared to do what he did because we were afraid of what Swami will tell us. What if Swami kicks us out for our audacity? What if Swami scolds us? We were concerned about ourselves. But no matter what happens, even if Swami should kick me out, I cannot bear Swami's pain. This fellow ran and lifted Swami. Afterwards also Swami kept on saying it. He just lifted me like that. He just lifted me like that. Swami was telling everybody. Prema cannot sit still when action needs to happen. It will run and do action. It will immediately jump up. Adane prema. Once, again, another time in Parthi, Swami was going for darshan. And somebody, a devotee, overzealously put his hand out to take Pada Namaskar. Swami tripped and fell. This is when we were there. One boy ran up to Swami. He jumped over everybody. Everybody else was He ran, jumped and helped Swami up. Swami then was talking about it. In an interview, we were there in that interview room, Swami was talking about it. At that time, Swami said, referencing that, Swami said, nothing can happen to me. Because all of us were worried, Swami, are you okay? Swami said, nothing can happen to me, I am divine. But when that boy came running to pick me up, at that time, he should think, he is anyway divine. What will happen to him? He will pick himself up, that's okay. He came running. Adi premara. That is love. Prema, when it becomes full, it will naturally express itself as action, as karma. It cannot keep quiet. The bhakti becomes that external sadhana. It is expressing itself as sadhana, it is manifesting itself as sadhana. Two, such sadhana supports it. Such sadhana supports it. See, in both these instances where two boys ran, I remember an instance where once, I have shared this before with you all. These were instances where somebody else did. I'll tell you a story where once, Deepavali day, Swami was standing and watching the fireworks. Few of us were in Bhajan hall because we wanted to watch the fire rather than the fireworks. Sakshat Agni Swarupama Bhagavan is a Jata Veda Sesanava Masoma Marati Yato. Abhine Jata Vedasa, Swami is standing there. And then a few of us only, we were sitting in Bhajan hall. Suddenly, a man ran from somewhere and came through the VIP corridor all the way up to Swami. Suddenly he ran. And we could see somebody running through the window, the Bhajan hall window. Hey, who's running? Nobody runs in Prashanti. And that too, where Swami is standing when somebody is running, we do not know what possessed us. Few of us only. We jumped up. I still remember the tiger head and the idala. Swami is thrown along. Across all of that, I jumped. I am no athlete. I was never an athlete. But we do not know what possessed. We jumped across and trying to, as though we were going to stop this man and protect our Swami. By the time we reached, that man had already reached. Swami gave him a push and he went away and people caught him and they took him away. And we were standing there. Especially, I remember my thighs were trembling. On the one hand, the fear of the whole, shock of the whole moment. And the second, I'm not used to jumping and all. நான் plavangama Anna, na vanara na, தூக்கி தாண்டறதுக்கெல்லாம். But I still remember, I can totally still remember how my thighs were trembling. And Swami so sweetly turned around, looked at us and said, Bhayapattipoyava, Bhayapattipoyava, Bhayandupetiya, Bhayapattipoyara. So sweet. Oh, I can still remember the karunyam, the compassion, the mellowness, the sweetness of Swami's voice, because he recognized the fact that we couldn't hold ourselves. When something had come for Swami, and even now I feel so thrilled that I could do that. I wasn't just sitting there waiting and watching to see what will happen. Gudichene. Who made he inside made it happen. And at least that prema manifested itself in action. So what happens? The reason why I'm talking about is not that I'm a great fellow jumping. But when my love manifested itself as action, and when Swami turned with that compassion, such sweetness, such love in his eyes and said, Bhayapattipoyava, did you become scared? Even now my hair stands on its ends when I recollect that scene. So what has it done to my bhakti? Bhakti grew to a Vishwarupa. Can never forget it. So, action on the one hand is an expression of prema, but that same action becomes a food for that prema, increases that prema even more because you find a response from him. So, karma here is serving prema. Jnanathukku internal sadhana. Everything is within. Unreal. Only Atma is real. Internal sadhana. Premaki velila sadhana. External sadhana. But some sort of sadhana is necessary. In some form or the other, sadhana is a must. Sadhana is what keeps alive that flame of ardor within us, that eagerness within us, that enthusiasm, that shraddha that we have. It has to keep blazing. We cannot let it dim. Without knowing the coal, the embers are there. Without knowing, ash will come and cover it up. You have to keep blowing that ash. You have to keep that flame blazing forth. If you do not do that, then before you know it, the flame will go out completely. Similarly, that ember of prema which is present within our hearts, we have to keep fanning it, making sure that all the ash in the form of attachments, in the form of desires and distractions, anything other than him, all of those are constantly blown away. Apappo it will come. We are living in this world, Ilya. If we are not living in this world, it's a different story. We are living in this world. We are not so fortunate as to be in the direct presence of the divine himself. Gopikalna angiye irundha. The Gopikas were lucky they were with Krishna, but how long could they also remain? Krishna went away after some time. People in Prashanti Nilayam were happy because they were always with Swami. Even there, slowly, distance happened. If you read the stories of those who came to Swami in the 40s and the 50s, how much close proximity they enjoyed, then slowly they also became distant. So distraction is always possible for anybody. But we have got to, because we are living in this world, it is inevitable and easy to be distracted. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa would say that if you are working in the kitchen, it is inevitable for you to get some soot onto your body, onto your clothes. Who has ever cooked and not burnt themselves, tell me? If you cook, you will be burnt, you will scald yourself somewhere. Like that, if you are living in this world, we will be tainted. That is why sadhana is necessary. Sadhana offsets the negative impressions, the negative vasanas, all the negative that we keep on cultivating, accumulating by our interaction with the world. To offset it, we need sadhana. Just as we need sleep to rest and recover the body which has been tired out by the activities of the day, like that we need sadhana to rest and recover the mind, the inner space that is tired out by constant interaction with the external world outside. On the one hand, this interaction is going on. On the other hand, sadhana is also not there. Then what will happen? What is our gati? This is our gati. Where we are right now is our gati. So depending upon your path, either jnana sadhana or bhakti sadhana, but some form of sadhana is absolutely inevitable. You cannot live your life without sadhana. When buddhi is established in the Brahman, constantly established in the Brahman, it is called jnana. For that, first Shravanam is necessary. Listening to the discourses on the Shastras. What we are doing now, Shravanam. After Shravanam, Mananam is required. What is Mananam? Calling to mind what has been heard. And finally, Nididhyasana. Ruminating on the things that is recalled to the memory until bhakti is fully developed, until it becomes para bhakti, supreme bhakti. These three have to be gone through without interruption. Constantly, we've got to do these three things. We've got to listen again and again. We've got to listen until we are established in the truth. We've got to listen to the truth again and again. Asakritu Upadeshat, appadina Brahma Sutras. Vyasa in his Brahma Sutra says, Asakritu Upadeshat. Appadina, Upadesha should be given and heard not just once. Asakritu, number of times. Sakrit, not once. Asakrit, not just once. Again and again and again, this truth has to be heard by us. Because we keep forgetting it otherwise. We keep getting caught in this. So we've got to keep hearing, listening. Listening is reinforcement. Listening alone is not enough. No matter how much we listen, if we do not remember it, if we do not bring it back into our memory, if we do not think about it again, then what good is listening? But thinking about alone is not enough. Ultimately, it has to be put into practice. Deenni meeru practical lo pettali. Swami would say it in this way. Deenni meeru practical lo pettali. It is not enough. Merely bookish knowledge is not enough. It has to be practiced. Ade nididhyasana. It has to be practiced. The teachings have to be practiced. Until, how long should it be practiced for? Until bhakti becomes fully developed. Fully developed bhakti is para bhakti, supreme love for God. What is the nature of supreme love for God? God falls in love with you. God falls in love with you. After that, you don't have to do anything. Trust me on this. You don't have to do anything. Because He will love you no matter how you are. He will love you to bits. All that you have done for Him, He will now return it to you. All that which you have done for Him, the way you have loved Him, He will love you that way now. Unconditionally, He will love you. Accepting you as you are, dosho yadyapi natyajayam. No matter how you are, He will accept you. He will cherish you. He will treasure you. Because He will fall in love with you. He cannot be without you. He cannot be without you. He will come chasing you. You know what the problem about that is? It is not easy, I'll tell you. It's a problem. Because He is powerful. See, we are not powerful. He is powerful. Chinna example. You are pining for Him. Instead of looking at you, He looks at another devotee. What can you do about it? Can you do anything about it? You can't do anything about it. Because you are not powerful enough to control Him. He, on the other hand, is supremely powerful. After He falls in love with you, if you get attached to something, He will destroy that to make sure that you stay with Him. And He's got the power. Fellow is dangerous. Take it from somebody who has suffered multiple times. I have suffered multiple times from that particular dilemma. He is so possessive that I know every time I formed, even as a child, whenever I formed an attachment with somebody, with a friend, oh, take him away. He will go away, I will go away, somebody will be transferred, something will happen, never to meet him ever again. He saw me, only me. Only me. He will be jealous if you give importance to anybody or anything else. He will make sure the first thing he will do is, because he is all powerful, he will take it away from your life. What will you do? What will you do, Abhina? Once you realize it, you will feel so happy. You will feel so happy that he is so jealous. He doesn't want me so much as looking at something. He can't bear it. It's a great joy. And God becomes jealous. It is such a ananda. You will have no freedom. Privacy, forget about it. There is no privacy with God. There is no freedom with God. He will be hounding you, hounding your footsteps all the time. True. I have suffered a lot. But can I call it suffering? It was actually sweet suffering. At that time, it appeared as suffering. Out of my ajnana, I thought it was suffering. I would say, Swami, why do you do this to me? Swami, why do you do this to me? Now when I look back, after I become a bit mature, I look back and I say, he was jealous. He's a jealous husband. He's a very jealous husband. He can't bear the wife looking at anybody else. Even பாவம் தெரியாதனமா எப்படி இருக்கே சௌக்கியமா என்ன அவரோடலாம் பேச்சு. He's like that. God is like that. He is a possessive and jealous God. You used to see that so much in Swami. Very possessive. And how wonderful it is that the Lord should want to possess us. What more do we need to do? Once He becomes possessive of us, He is not to be fooled. He will never let go of what He wants to hold on to. It is only when we want to hold on to Him, we have got so much problem. The moment He becomes possessive of us and He holds on to us, who can wrest us away from His grasp? That relationship will, even if you want to get rid of it, you cannot get rid of it. Kabira man nirmal bhayo jaise ganga neer piche piche hari chale keht kabir kabir keht kabir kabir. Kabir in his dohas. Kabir is so sweet in these kind of things. Like all the Sufi poets, Rumi and all of those, it's like that. Kabir says, I made my mind as pure as Ganga water. And I was going about my business. Piche piche hari chale. And behind me, I could hear a voice. Kabir, Kabir, oh Kabira, Kabir. I could hear a voice. Who is calling me all the time? When I looked back, who is walking now? Piche piche hari chale. Hari was walking. Hari Sakshat Hari was walking. Keht kabir kabir. Keht kabir kabir. Kabir kabir solite nadந்து போனார். Saying Kabir Kabir, Hari is walking behind me. Bhagavan will become besotted with us. Bhagavan will become infatuated with us. Bhagavan will have parama prema towards us. Bhagavan will start to have bhakti towards us. Bhagavan will come and do sharanagati to us. Reverse side. Whatever we have done, the whole thing will get reversed. Ulta ved. And once He wants to hold on to us, what more effort do we need to do? As long as we don't squirm in His grasp, it is enough. We want to lift up a child. When we lift up a child, with so much love, we will lift up the child. Will we ever let the child go? We will hold on tightly. As long as the child doesn't squirm and start to kick and make a big fuss, we may lose the balance. Even then, we try to overpower the child and hold it lest the child should fall. If we ourselves are like that towards a child, then imagine how much he will be. All we have got to achieve is become that tempting to Him. We have got to become that appealing to Him. We have got to become lovable to God so that He will want to love us. This is parabhakti. For this sadhana has to be done. Instead, bhaktas often deal with God in a bargaining spirit or in the spirit of a tradesman. This attitude should be given up. Whoever he is, he should not ask from his God, his Ishta Devata, anything other than bhakti or prema. If he does, he is no true bhakta. Uninterrupted flow of prema towards the feet of the Lord, that is real surrender. Ishvara pranidhana bhakti. Such surrender alone guarantees shanti, ensures shanti, genuine shanti. What does the devotee want? He does not seek anything. Nachabritya savai vanik. Prahlada says to Narasimha, when Narasimha asks him, Prahlada, ask for a boon. What shall I give you? Ask for a boon. I don't want anything. Hey, ask something. I don't want anything. I don't want anything. Why? I am not a tradesperson. I am not a vanik. I am not a merchant. I am a devotee. I am a sevaka. I am a servant. I am not a merchant. I am not trading my love for favors. Bhagavan vaai adichu pittu. Narasimha had to shut up his mouth. Periya mouth irukku giri khandara madri, like a big cave his mouth is. And the mouth which he roared and caused terror to Hiranyakashipu and all the Dikpalaka, Ashtadikgajas, Brahma, Shiva, everybody was trembling when they listened to the roars of Narasimha. This little boy came and said, I am sorry, I am not selling my love for favors. Narasimha had to shut up. If at all you should ask, what should you ask? Swami says here, whoever he is, he should not ask from his God, his Ishta Devata, anything other than an uninterrupted flow of prema towards the feet of the Lord. Annamalayai adiyenai anda andre aviyudal kondai yanakor kurai undo குறையும் குணமும் நீ அல்லாய் எண்ணேன் இவற்றை என்னுயிரே எண்ணம் எதுவோ அது செய்வாய் கண்ணே உந்தன் கழலினையில் காதல் பெருக்கே தருவாயே கண்ணே உந்தன் கழலினையில் காதல் பெருக்கே தருவாய். Ramana Bhagavan writes in his Arunachala Navaratnama Navamani Arunachala Navamani Malai. Ramana Bhagavan writes this: Annamalayai Adiyenai Anda Andre Aviyudal Kondai. Hey Arunachala, hey Annamalayane, the day you came into my life itself, you took everything from me. Yanakor kurai undo. Is there anything lacking in my life? Kurayum gunamum ni. Lack and merit, everything is you. Yenne nivatrai ennuyire. I am not going to be bothered about all of these things. Yenna meduvo adishaivai. You do with me as you please. But, if you please, I have one request. Enna request na? Uninterrupted flow of prema towards the feet of the Lord. கண்ணே உந்தன் கழலினையில் காதல் பெருக்கே தருவாயே. May there be a flood of love in my heart towards your lotus feet. This is the only prayer I have. Mukunda Murdana Pranipatya Yache Bhavantam Ekantam Yantamartham Avismritistvacharanarvinde Bhave Bhave Me Astu Bhavat Prasadat. Kulishekar Alvar Mukunda Mala says this. Hey Mukunda, hey Krishna, hey Gopala, Murdana Pranipatya Yache, I put my head at your feet and beg from you a boon. Bhavantam Yantam Ekantam Artham. I'm going to ask you only one thing. I'm asking from you. I'm not asking many things from you. Adanala one thing you can give me. I'm only asking one thing. Enna Avismritistvacharanarvinde. Non-forgetfulness of your lotus feet. Even if I should have birth after birth, by your grace, let me always remember and have love towards your lotus feet. This is the only prayer I have. They are asking. Urunaalum unai maravada varam. Piravamai vendum, pirandalum maravamai vendum. Give me the boon of no more births. But if that is too much, if I have not merited that, if I have not done anything to deserve that, and I must be born, then unnai maravamai vendum. Then I give me the boon of never forgetting you, so that I can have that love. This is the only prayer that we need to place in front of the Lord. Let me never forget you. Let me always love you. Stand in front of me in that most glorious, most compassionate, most lovable form, so that I will naturally, inevitably, inexorably attracted towards you. I will love you. ஊர் சுற்று உளம் விடாது உன்னை கண்டடங்கிட உன் அழகை காட்டு அருணாச்சலா அப்படின்னு ரமண பகவான் says to Arunachala, show me that divine form of yours, show me that supremely beautiful form of yours, so that I am not going to be distracted by anything else. Nidan Ishvara Pranidhana Bhakti, bhakti in the form of perfect surrender to the Lord. Such a person immediately attains Shanti. Such surrender guarantees Shanti. Abhina, Swami has so beautifully taken us along in this journey of Prashanti Vahini so far. We have one more day left, 2 more sessions tomorrow. Adora we will bring this Saptaham, 7-day stream of Prashanti. Prashanti can never come to a close. To say to come to a close, we will continue it in a new phase, in a new way. We cannot finish it. Yeah, before we knew 6 days are over. Yeah. I was just talking, how many days every day, because if you do normal Saptaham, by now Krishna Avataram would have happened, at least you know, Seri, Krishna Saritram. But because it is one continuous flow of only the Upadesham, we do not know. There's no demarcations. We've come to the 6th day. Hopefully everybody has been taking the essence of Swami's teachings and deeply with it. Even though we may all have come to Swami at various points in our life, perhaps we've never devoted ourselves to his teachings in this manner before. In this depth, at least now we've got that opportunity to. Something that our Swami has written, we all have to necessarily become familiar with it, know it. It's very important for all of us. Yeah, we'll stop here for tonight. 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु ओम शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम तत्सत् श्री साईश्वरार्पणमस्तु।